This video is being recorded at 10:40 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, July 31st. So I'm just going to review the one trade on Euro Swiss franc I took this past week. I didn't have a chance to record this until the weekend, but I took one sell trade on Euro Swiss franc on the 26th at 7:20 a.m. This was another minor loss. I was trying to capture the Swiss franc strength that happened during the London session, but I only caught the tail end of that move, and it looked to be slowing down on the lower time frames. So I just exited the trade after about 20-30 minutes. I took 9 pips of loss, which amounted to about 0.5% of drawdown on this account. So let me show you the chart for Euro Swiss franc. This is the weekly chart. As you can see, it was bearish last week, as I thought it might be, continuing the weekly downtrend. So the daily moves, most of the sell-off happened across 2 days. The big move was on July 26th, and we had another minor, smaller move on July 28th. So here you can see it's kind of a stair-stepping pattern. It's not a huge, consistent, stable trend on the 4-hour time frame or lower. As you can see, it tends to drop down on a specific day, has a sharp drop during the London session, and then it may retrace for a day or two before having another sharp sell-off. That looks to be the nature of the Swiss franc pairs. They're a bit more volatile. So yeah, this one was the big drop on the 26th. Let me show you the 1-hour chart. So yeah, I was watching during the late Tokyo and Sydney sessions to see if it would break out of this plateau range that it provided. And then I think I went to bed on that evening around 11 or 11:30. So I did not see the initial breakout. But about an hour into the London session, we started having some selling, and then that intensified overnight. And then when I woke up at 6:30 or 7, I was checking charts a little bit and saw it continue to go down in the 5-minute time frame. So I tried to place a sell, but I think the move pretty much ended around then. So I just exited with a minor loss. Let me show you the exact entry on the 5-minute chart. Okay, yeah, so as you can see here, during the opening of the New York session, the price started consolidating a bit. Maybe the traders in the London session, they were closing out their positions, so the market looks like it slowed compared to before in the London session. But into the New York session, a couple hours around 7 a.m. Pacific time, it looks like it broke out again. And then I took maybe a sell around 7:15, 7:20. But then the price retraced almost back to the previous floor, which is now the ceiling. And then I was watching for a couple candles on the 5-minute chart and went down for 2 candles, but then it failed to go down lower, and it actually had a more retracement on the next candle. I was watching the 2-minute time frame as well, so I had a bit better resolution into it, but it looked like it was going into a range, so I just exited the trade and started my day doing other things. And then yeah, as you can see, for the whole day in the New York session and going into the Tokyo session, it was pretty much flat. Even if I did hold this trade, I would be in losses for some of the time, and then even by the end of that, by the London Open, I would still be on a loss. So I saved some time doing that. And then over the next 2 days, it looks like the price, retraced. Yeah, during the next Tokyo session, went back up almost to the previous breakout level. And then London session, again, the sellers came in and just sold this pair down even further. I also, did not capture the later breakouts. It looks like most of these happen in the London session after I go to bed, so there's not really an opportunity for me to try and trade these. But yeah, I've noticed my strategy for following the stable trends doesn't really work when there's a volatile retracing market. You can kind of see that in these stair-stepping patterns. It will break out, retrace, all the way almost to the initial breakout level before selling down again. So even if I did capture one of these trends before it happened, I would have to monitor kind of closely on the 4-hour or 1-hour charts to see when it starts slowing down and then take the first opportunity to exit. So these are quite tricky to trade. And in the last week, I didn't see many trends, only Swiss franc. The strength continued from previous weeks, but all the other pairs, including USD, JPY, even the euro was strong for a couple of days. So all the trends we saw at the beginning of July, they were kind of stopping and retracing a bit. So yeah, overall, now this account is at $205,700. So that's, I think, just under 3% gain from the initial target. Next week is going to be the last full trading week for the FTMO challenge that I started. It's going to end on August 9th, so I have just maybe 6 or 7 trading days. We'll see if I can meet any of the thresholds. If I bring this account to 210,000, that will be a 5% profit target achieved, and I can potentially request a 14-day extension. But that's okay. Even if as long as I don't go into a loss for this month, I can always request a free repeat. It will just reset me to 200,000, and I have to achieve the profit target again from scratch. But no worries. This is kind of how it works. There's drawdown periods. But yeah, we will see what the forecast is like for next week.